Aren't you ashamed? We got whores in the city. We need backup now. Don't be so dang literal.
Well, you've got one heck of a nerve.
Oh my God! The government is here! Run!
Hey, barkeep, whose leg do you have to hump to get a dry martini around here?
Ich bin ein Springfielder.
They stole my heart. Steal a whip. I thought the wolf was retired. Do you know this man's?
They think they run this city because their daddy has a seat at the high table.
I do not like bullies!
You think you'll be rusty?
All right, everybody. Hey, we are live. We're back. We did it.
Finally.
Finally.
Months, James. We have been waiting. I've been waiting. I've had nothing to do.
You've had nothing to do? You've had just months of nothing?
Since July, I've done absolutely nothing with my life. You're right. Yeah. It's all been just hanging out here at the house waiting for you.
Yeah, and I apologize for ever watching it, because the TV's all weird. But fuck it. We're doing it live.
We're doing it live. We're doing it live. Yes.
But yeah, Ben, what's up? How is, we haven't really chatted. I mean, we kind of chatted during the Halloween special, but, I don't know, that was just us doing a special. But now we're live. We're here. I feel like this is the first time I get to, talk to you.
It really is. And it's kind of funny because, in July, we both sort of had some things getting started. Yours have continued. My sorrows also have, but in a much different way.
Yeah, what's life post Popham?
So I got back middle of September, right? And then it's haunt season, or it has been haunt season. So I kind of jumped into that as soon as I got back. Then we went to Italy for a little bit.
Mamma mia.
Mamma mia. Listen, I'm going to tell you this. The one thing I'll say about, and Reeves will kill me because I'm going to get it wrong, but I think it's Cine Underground. I've been Cine Underground.
That's why I thought it was just Cine Underground.
Cine Underground. I think they pronounce CI with a sort of sound. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. The Italians at Cine Underground know how to end a fucking festival. So it's 3 days worth of movies, all exceptional.
Nice.
All weird underground sort of stuff. That's the whole idea of it, right? Is indie shit, stuff you're not gonna see anywhere else. Met an amazing another American filmmaker.
Goes to Italy, only meets American filmmakers.
No, just because I could communicate with him. That's the thing.
You're just walking around English?
Huh? You? I did meet a guy. Okay, I'm gonna squirrel around, so I'm sorry. I did meet a guy on our last
you met a
day
guy. How romantic in Italy.
That's amore. So fucking. I met this dude though. It was early on, it was the morning we were getting ready to leave. So it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It was Monday or Sunday before we were headed back to the festival for the last day.
It was last Monday.
I get, fuck. Well, it all ties into weird here. I met this dude though because I was going around looking for a pack of smokes, because what I learned in Italy is all there is to do is eat croissants, drink coffee, and smoke cigarettes. It's
I
like
believe
the
it.
It's the perfect place. It's amazing. And then you can buy like cured meats just, at a street fair. So I get up and I go out. Jen's still resting. Everybody's still asleep. I just kind of want to explore, right? So I go around. I'm looking for a pack of squares. Find a place that's open. Go in, and I'm very bad at the language in general. So I look at the person. I wave. Yeah, hi. And then I'm like, American? And I just keep pointing at myself. I'm like, me? I'm an American? I'm an idiot, is what that means.
I'm big American idiot.
Big dum-dum. All right here. So I go up, though, and it's like, I'm talking to the lady. I'm getting my cigarettes. And there's a dude that is just standing there, and he goes, America! And then he tells me that he spent a bunch of time in Kentucky, of all
places. Yeah, Kentucky.
Yeah. And I'm like, bro, I'm down in Tennessee. And then I start talking to him like he understands what I'm saying. He does not.
Gallatin, Westmoreland, Tennessee.
You know where I'm at, man. Northern Sumner. You got it, right? You got that figured out. No, he does not. He does not. But it was a very nice Sunday morning. But they know how to end a festival. So it's like Sunday night, they do this little award ceremony, and the dude that runs the festival, his name is Lorenzo, filmmaker in his own right.
Lorenzo.
I just watched his movie, Creepy Tales of Pizza and Gore. Okay?
That sounds like the most Italian movie I've ever heard.
So I'm going to tell you right now, it's one of the greatest things I've ever watched. During the credit sequence, there's the most beautiful pizza you have ever seen, all right? Laid out, and it's this nice big close-up of just this big pizza pie. And then the fucking pizza slicer comes in, and they start cutting into it, and they cut it into a gigantic pentagram. And dude, it makes the devil look so delicious. Is all of it.
Hey, the devil's always delicious. Is that soul pizza?
Soul pizza, 100%. But they cut it into this. Whatever. Anyway, Lorenzo is a very gracious host. His movie.
You were in one of his. Didn't he? Is he the one who's making a movie out there? You guys did some cameo in.
So the festival. We get into town. Yeah, maybe I'll start a little from the beginning. We get into town, and it's like we go immediately from the airport to the hotel. We get checked in. We've got a few hours to chill out. We chill out a little bit. We meet the other Americans. We go there that night, Friday night, because that's when we're screening. We're closing out Friday night.
Hell yeah.
Party night, right? So first night of the weekend. Let's get loose. So we go. Amazing screening, first and foremost. I'll tell you that. Absolutely.
Yeah. How was the sound?
It was the sound you wanted, James.
Yeah.
It was the sound you worked for. No, it was great. And they got it. Like, that's the thing that blew my mind, is somehow American hunting, well,
farts are universal.
So farts, and then the other thing that I learned is that people from other countries don't understand what real necrophilia is.
Really?
Right? So, well, they do, but they don't. So the two lowest ratings that we have gotten on Letterboxd have come from Italy and have come from Brazil, and both of them make reference to the necrophilia jokes. And the thing is, we only have a guy like masturbating to like dead people porn. there's no real necrophilia in the
Yeah.
movie. Like nobody actually, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't go that step. But
No.
everybody seems to be like, oh, the
Oh.
constant necrophilia jokes.
Which is crazy what people can pull out of a thing.
And bro, they say constant. There is one reference, and it's inside of the first 15 minutes. How is that constant? What is constant are the farts.
Yeah.
Like the farts are constant.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of the reviews on Letterboxd talking about the farts, which made my day.
It's one of my favorite things. But great screening. We got a couple of I don't know. They picked up on some of the social commentary. Like everybody was into it, so it felt very.
How did
very
the
good.
the Nadia and Jazz scene play? How was the audio there? I mean, that was your first. I mean, you got to kind of hear it at Tromathon, but I feel like here you got to like hear what I did to it.
Okay, so the rain that we had complained about forever, from the time that we shot it, gone. It's like it no longer exists. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Hell
and
yeah.
to me, that's exactly what we're looking for. And I don't want to spoil it, but like everybody also picks up on another thing, and it's great. They're like, I watched through this movie, and I realized there's all these people taking shits, but nobody wipes. Nobody flushes a toilet. They all just leave their shits floating. And I'm like, so, you could look at it from a point of like, oh, we missed the like lean back and flush the toilet or make the sound effect or whatever. But I love that people pick up on that.
Yeah, you can
And
add sound effects for the flushing toilet, but there's no sound designed to make someone wash their hands.
Or wipe their fucking butt. You can't. How do you sound like? You know what I mean? But
just put the sound of like rubbing on like glass. It's like.
It's so fun to me though that people pick up on that specifically, and it's particularly when Nadia is taking a shit. They're like, she's taking this huge disgusting shit, and then you see her just stand up and pull,
and then she goes to dance on someone.
her underwear back up. That makes me so happy. So at least our friends in other lands pick up on that.
Great.
Right? So they get it. But fast forward, watch a bunch of great movies, meet a bunch of cool people, eat some really great food, drink some really great drinks. At the venue, Circulo Gardenia or something like that. If Reeves is watching, he can tell me how to say it, but I forget what it's called. I follow him. Anyway, there's a dude there that mixes a drink. The drink on the menu, it roughly translates to assess my personality, and make a drink based on me.
Oh, okay. Shit.
So
that sounds kind of awesome.
Pay the thing. It's like $8. The guy comes over, he looks at me, he squints his eyes a little bit, he smiles.
Does he talk? Is there like an interview process, or he just judges you from what he sees?
Judges you from what he sees. So the next thing I know, he starts pulling shit down, right? Just boom, 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 off of the bar there, and I notice a couple of things. He's got some Jim Beam, which is great. He's got some oh my God, like there's like a little like French wine splash that he pulled down for it. Couple other things. It's all very boozy. It's all very like good alcohol content.
Ooh.
And so then he starts pouring this fucking drink. And he hands it to me, and I take a sip of it. Greatest thing I've ever tasted in my life. It is a spin on a Manhattan.
So he got you. He figured you out.
Bro, it was delicious. But he told me it was a spin on a Manhattan, and a Manhattan is a classic, like, old man drink. Do you know what I mean? And
Wow.
they're usually very, very potent. And I was like, he sized me up, and he just said old and drunk. And I was like, oh, you know what? Nail on the head.
We got there. You're officially old and drunk.
Officially. And then, so, like that's the thing. We get to the final night. All these great movies. There's an award ceremony. We won an award in a place where the awards don't matter.
So, like, I saw there was an award for, like, most credits or something. I was like, does that just the people who have the most amount of credits or the coolest credits? I don't even.
So that's the thing. When Lorenzo, Sarah, Giacomo, when our hosts all say, you know, we're going to do awards because that's what you do at a festival, but the awards don't matter.
Good.
When he says the award, some of them are silly. Some of them are very, very silly. And it's
I like
good.
that because I hate awards. I mean, I've said it a bunch of times. I hate film awards. I think it's dumb.
It is. So when you say most credits, right? I think the people that won were like backed on like an Indiegogo or something.
Oh, so they had like a ton of.
You know what I mean? And it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, this group had more people than anybody involved. We got best line for Curse of the
Right.
Reindeer.
Which line was it?
It's 69 o'clock.
I mean, there's a lot of great lines in Weird Year, so I'm glad that. Though out of all the lines, not that line's not funny, but I'm just surprised that that's the line they picked.
So,
Mine would either be actually. Can I tell you my favorite line? Because it's such a throwaway line. It's not even like a joke in the movie, but because Connor says it so earnestly and like serious. It's when everyone's getting in the car. He just like gets in the car, points into the distance, and goes, "Okay, make a right at Troma." I don't know why it makes me laugh every like when I was editing it. Like hopefully you can hear it when you were watching it because I try to make it more prominent because I heard him say it and I was like, this is. It just killed me for some reason. I don't know why. He just says it so seriously, like he knows where we're going.
you make it right over here, like. And that's where I think like Connor shines in so much of this.
Yeah.
Like and Connor came out.
Yeah.
So it was me, Jen, Reeves, Corinne, Connor, Liam, Jessa,
all the stars.
It was an eclectic group and we had a wonderful time. But for the finale, after the awards, and as far as good lines go, when I saw it come up, I thought they were going to say not another cocksucker.
Yeah, that's like the line.
I thought that was the one. But 69 o'clock, somehow I knew we had that locked in. We also got the biggest pop of the festival. Success. As far as like audience interaction, as far as like people being, I guess, sort of like a level of boisterous during.
Nice. So they were loud. That's amazing.
They were loud. They were laughing. They were clapping. Like it was good. Like it was good. But they end with karaoke. Like all good things should end.
Yeah.
Right? Like with karaoke.
So did you sing Green Jello in English to everyone who didn't understand you?
Yes, 100%, dude. Yes, you know I did. I did Three Little Pigs very early on. Reeves did All Star to Creep.
Nice. That's a classic. He's done that before. Don't let him fool you.
Don't let him fool you. The Italians hadn't seen it. But we told our host, we were like, well, we'll end it big for everybody, right? And we went down to have a cigarette. We come back up, and we did the American national anthem and the
You guys
and the
sang the American national anthem?
and the Italian national anthem back to back.
You sang the the Italian national anthem?
We sang America Fuck Yeah, and then That's Amore to the Italians.
That's fucking awesome.
Those were our true national anthems for everybody.
See,
But yeah,
that's
no, we did.
Amore. They're like these stupid Americans.
Reeves announced it, and it was the funniest fucking thing I'd ever heard in my life. He did. He
Is it
announced
like
straight up.
singing like Sweet Carolina, like in in America anywhere?
Dude, yes, it was. And I didn't know. Again, it's one of these wonderful little experiences. All these fucking people that we don't know that speak a different language are singing both songs with us. You know what I mean? It's like a room full of people
That's
singing
amazing.
America, fuck yeah. Right into That's Amore. It was beautiful.
That
It
is
was
beautiful.
Arguably the best moment of the trip. Like arguably. Then we spent the next few days touring around. We saw the Coliseum. Me,
Nice.
Jen, and Connor went on our own little adventure throughout. And
Well, you guys
I
lost
learned.
Connor, didn't you?
Dude, it's a desperately long story, but I'll give you the highlights. Connor didn't have a plane ticket from Milan to Napoli. By the time he gets to where we were when we were going to Pompeii, like he gets on a train to Rome. So he ends up heading like straight to Rome. We go to Pompeii and tour. We're supposed to catch a train to Rome that night. Our trains get delayed severely to a point to where now we have to go back to Napoli and spend the night in Napoli.
Oh shit.
All right. Connor's in Rome by himself. I made an excellent meme.
Is this
We
the Skid Row that I keep hearing about too?
Bro, horrible. Horrible. So we get out of the train station and we're looking for a hotel, and there are hotels where we are. Okay? There are hotels where we are. Those fucking hotels, like 4-star, 3-star, we would walk in and they would send us away. They would be like, no rooms for you. And no, thank you. And they would have us fuck right off. So we did. And we find this one called the Hotel Diamond, which sounds like the hotel off the corner of a strip club.
It does. Or like a Neil Diamond themed hotel.
You're on like a Neil Diamond.
I know.
kick
I
tonight.
got 2 Neil Diamond bits in there.
You got him on the brain. I don't know what it is. So anyway, long and the short, we fucking
Bum bum bum.
bum, 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 bum. We go around the corner, and it's a bad block because immediately at the bus stop, you see this pair of sneakers that's kicked off to the side. They're off. It's like abandoned tennis shoes. And I don't know what it is, but anytime, and not even hanging from the phone lines, to me that seems like a level of charming. But this is just abandoned at the bus stop, and something bad has happened. That's all I can say. You see sneakers on the ground, kicked off somebody's feet. That's a bad day for someone.
Yeah, because if they're up on the telephone pole, that's supposed to be good luck or a sign or whatever. People do that just to like
Somebody
leave.
threw that shit
Yeah.
up there. You know what I mean? Like somebody made that shit happen. So whatever. Long and the short of it is we go around the corner. Horrible neighborhood, garbage stacked up everywhere. If somebody was going to get human trafficked, it would have been on this walk. Okay? Didn't happen. Great. We get to the Hotel Diamond, and the only thing on the TV once you hit like channel 121 is like live porn ads that are running, and then Reeves found blood on his wall.
Nice. How hairy is the Italian porn? Like super hairy?
No, so what it was like it was advertisements for like phone numbers to call. It was the like basically
Because I'm just imagining like Italian pornos with just huge bushes everywhere. Burly, hairy dudes.
I'll send you a list of movies to watch after this. Because you're a little right, but a little wrong. But so we spend the night there. We get up the next morning. We catch the bullet train to, and I call it a bullet train. It's a very fast train. We get on the fast train. We go to Rome. We meet up with Connor. Walk around Rome. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. We go back to Milan, and we bookend our trip with seeing an old friend, Corrado from Shitstorm.
I missed that guy. I literally haven't seen him since Shitstorm.
I'm gonna tell you, he hasn't had a haircut since then.
I can tell. I saw photos. Yeah,
bro, the guy has a head of hair like you haven't seen, and it was just it was exceptional. It was exceptional to hang out with him. He's from Milan, so he took us around. You know what I mean? Like
That's
he
awesome.
showed us where to go. He acted as our interpreter for the day. He taught us how to use the subway down there. Like it was great. It was great.
Oh, what a great dude.
Yeah, and we saw the Bone Chapel. Like there's just so much like history baked into there. Like
Yeah, I feel like I mean if you go like you go overseas to like Italy, UK, Europe, all of that. I mean, I feel like there's just so much history because it's just been around since the big like when history started was there. Like recorded history,
So I mean, and it is. It's like, and the more I sort of look back, the more it's, we're only like what 2 weeks away from it. You know what I mean? So little bits and pieces still sort of hit you as you're going through. So much, like, and God bless friend of the show Reeves. He kept saying, like, what is it? All of this before we had TV, and then it's like TV ruined it all. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that people don't create sculpture, don't create these things, but there are these hyper realistic like statues.
Yeah. I mean, to make art back then, you literally have to like fucking sculpt some bullshit or like literally make everything from scratch. Like there's no thing.
You get a block of marble.
Yeah.
And you can't take a laser chisel to it. You can't take a chainsaw to it. You can't take any of that. It's a little like a little sharp edge in your hand and a hammer. And you're just knocking shit off of something. And somehow you have to form like an entire human body out of that.
With a penis.
With a penis. Which, did you see my apron? The apron that I got?
Yes, I did. Well, that penis looks pretty big in comparison to the statues that I've seen, Normally, I thought the statues supposed to be small penises.
They are, but when you get to the gift shops, they think it's funny that David has a little penis, so they put a ginormous one on it. You know what I mean? For all of us that know how to celebrate irony.
Yeah, man, Italy sounds like a blast. Hopefully next year I'll make it to this festival.
Man, listen, let me tell you. Start putting a little bit of bread back now. Just do it now. Just tuck a little bit
I
back.
imagine Italy is expensive.
No.
It's not.
Weirdly, so much of the basics are cheaper than here. So much of the
Wow.
basics.
What about
are cheaper
restaurants
than
and like
here.
booze and stuff?
$5 or €5 a beer. That's like $5.25.
Oh yeah, that's not bad. That's normal. That's like
That's
that's a good,
normal.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I want to pay for beer. Yeah.
What really sold me and like won me over though, bottled water, €1, €1. A shot of espresso, €1.
That's
Like
it.
a
Wow.
$1.08 for a shot of espresso.
Yeah, shot espresso out here in Brooklyn would be like $6.
Bro, you can walk around and just be like, one. And they
You never
fucking
get
pour it up.
sleepy.
You flip them a fucking coin and it's done. It's over, But at the hotel in Busto Arsizio, at the hotel there, it was great. Breakfast was it was continental breakfast, so it was all these pastries and then like a little charcuterie board, right? So you pull a couple of little pieces of ham or whatever, a couple of little pieces of cheese, you're all good. You get your cornetto, which is Italian
cornetto.
for
I mean,
croissant.
I thought that was ice cream, or I guess it's the UK. It's the
That's
cornetto.
gelato. That's gelato.
Well, I mean, there's an ice cream brand because that's what they call the Edgar Wright's trilogy, the Cornetto trilogy, because they got like the same ice cream in all three movies.
Oh. No, a cornetto in Italy is a croissant.
Okay.
So, but like literally, I would go down in the morning. I would have my croissant. I would have a doppio espresso. I would sit there. I'd sip that shit. I'd eat my croissant. I'd have a little piece of ham and a little piece of cheese. I'd go up. Jen would get up. We would go down. I would have another doppio espresso, and then I would eat more meats and croissants, and fucking that shit was free at the hotel we were at.
Hell yeah.
So, and then $1 or €1 for some water, $1.08, and it was all fizzy water. Fuck you. Like, Italy's great. Cheap enough. I could live off of free coffee and dollar waters all day. Like, it was awesome.
Well, yeah. Hopefully next year I'll be at that festival.
Dude, zero complaints. Yeah. I mean, seriously, go. Trying to talk Jen into going back. We'll go back.
I got to bring
be a good
Steeler
time.
International.
Oh my God. So that's the other thing. Dwayne opens up our movie.
Yeah.
Dwayne's in here now. He opens up Curse of the Weird. And I want to tell you, gotta pop from the beginning. From Jump Street.
Dwayne's a
Gotta
superstar.
Done. Yeah, I don't know. So that's been the best part of most recently. I had the best gnocchi I ever ate in my life. Absolute best gnocchi. Like, you put it in your mouth and the whole thing just melts. Like, straight away. It was perfect. Me and Reeves split a steak tartare.
A steak tartare. Ooh,
fancy.
fancy.
We ate raw meat and quail egg together.
Gross.
No, it was delicious. It was absolutely perfect. It was wonderful. It's too much. It's too much, James.
Well,
But what about you? You've been all you've done, it seems to me, is work. You've been working.
yeah, I worked a lot. I mean, I haven't stopped working since August until this week, which is great. I hate complaining because I'm working, so it's like, I hate bitching about having money and a job, especially. But it's also, it's as much as I can like bitch about some of this stuff. It's like pretty awesome that I've spent the past since August, couple months, like 4 months, working with my friends and somehow making money doing it, which I think is pretty awesome. Never thought I would be able to do something like that, so which is sick, and I love it. Yeah, I don't. It's been great. It's been hard, but I love having free time now. I get to take care of my life. You can't see here, but I bought a new mattress finally.
You bought a new mattress?
Yeah, I got a new cell phone. Look at this. It's not cracked or fucked up anymore.
What?
Like,
James.
My life is coming together.
It's like you've officially crossed a threshold.
I'm being an adult finally at almost 32 years old. Yeah, since Dwayne's in the chat right now, hopefully whoever was here saw the 30-second trailer I played before we start. But yeah, Regal Times Square this Saturday, Portrait of Payback at the Urban Action Film Festival, which is going to be fucking insane. Real cinema. I never literally thought anything I ever made ever was just going to be some projector somewhere in some bar, which is fine. That's just what it's always like. That's the crowd we get and what we do, which is fine. Never thought I would go to fucking a Regal cinema. Yeah.
An actual full blown fucking movie house.
I had to make a DCP for this short.
So I got to tell you real quick. I just found out earlier, I guess late last week, right? Curse of the Werewolf is actually playing an old school, full blown, maybe 2-screen cinema in Portland. But it's one of the older movie houses in Portland, Oregon, called the Hollywood Theater. It's this absolutely gorgeous old theater. And we're playing as part of this weird, after dark thing. I had no idea. I wasn't involved in setting it up. I wasn't involved in anything. I just got a note that was like, "Hey, do you think you could be here?"
Well, yeah, I mean that. Also, make sure they got the right sound. But
that was the second I got that was the first thing I sent over. It was like, "This is the file." Period. Right?
Good.
Period.
Period. But yeah, to speak about Curse the Weird Year screenings, we got competing screenings with each other on Saturday.
On November 9th, yeah. We're playing down in Vegas. So competing, I don't think so.
Well, I guess maybe competing is the wrong word, but I do want to give a shout out to the real star. I mean, Dwayne's a superstar. Everyone is a star in Weird Year, but shout out to Connor for having because also Bring the Damned is playing. So this dude's got 3 movies playing on the same day across the country.
That, to me, that is wild.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
This fucking guy that I met at Trumpet Dance 2016, 2017, who was just like, "Oh, I like your t-shirt. Oh, I hope one day I want to be an actor." Never acted, never even said a line before, is now, all these couple years later, 3 movies across the country.
James, I'm gonna correct you real quick. Are you ready for an early correction?
Yeah.
Our brother Dwayne Steeler is in all 3 of those films playing as well.
Oh shit, you're right, because he didn't Bring on the Damn. Dwayne and Connor, man, you guys are the superstars, man. We're gonna. These are the guys we gotta ride their coattails. Gotta.
I mean, that's wild, right?
Yeah, I totally didn't even think about that, because you're right. Dwayne is gonna be across the country,
he's in Bring on the Damned. He leads in Curse of the Werewolf, and he is the main fucking star of Portrait of Payback.
Yeah. Wow. Hell yeah! What a fucking big weekend. Look at us.
Look,
putting out
November
Superstar.
9th. Here's what somebody should do. And it shouldn't be me, because I'm a train wreck. But if somebody did the numerology for 11, 09, 2024. Like, there's got to be something that lines up in there in that. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe
It's ritualistic.
some ritualistic like horoscope nonsense.
It's got to be like suns and moons and stars and planets are lining up. Do you know what I mean? Fucking, it's ridiculous.
I love it, man.
But
and I can't wait for. Like I said, I have no idea what to expect from this film festival. I mean, really, at all. Never been there. I don't know anyone there. Don't know anything about it. And I can't wait to see people's reaction when, Connor opens up the movie and says how much for the price. And
how much for the price?
And just watching Dwayne just kick ass,
And we've got Eric Woodard, our game warden, going to the screening in Vegas.
Nice.
To
So we get
represent
someone
us.
else there.
Yeah. So we'll have someone there to represent us, which will be very, very nice. But like, yeah, dude, I don't know. It's a weird feling, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's odd.
And we are nominated for something, so we probably won't win, but that'd be sick.
Payback's winning, dude.
Like I said, I don't give a shit about awards, but the fact that we were put on some list that made us nominated is, I guess, cool.
And Dwayne says we do not forget
Yes,
our
Cindy.
beloved friend Cindy.
Yes, she's the crutch of the movie. She's literally the heart of the movie.
She is who everything hinges upon. Do you know what I mean? And so I don't know, man. It's been busy since July.
Yeah.
There's so much more that I'm sure we're gonna catch up on. I don't even know how to do what we normally do, but we have been talking for like 42 minutes.
I know, 'cause there's so much to catch up on. So much
I
more
can't-
still.
Cannot find a good segue into Batman Caped Crusader. So really and truly, the only reason we got together tonight, James, we've taken the time off of everything to get back to a thing that we both love. We're talking Batman.
Yeah.
Caped Crusader. So, like, I understand why. I can see it behind you. I know why. We started with Batman, the animated series, right? Bruce Timm. It
Now he's
only
back.
makes sense. It only makes sense to come back to our first actual live show in 1,000 years to yet another Bruce Timm Batman.
Hell yeah. And so I do want to go into it episode by episode because every episode's like there's not a through line story, which is a lot like the animated series. But what I want to start with is the fact that Max canceled it. Like Warner Brothers canceled this show before it was like right when it was finished. They were like, yeah, we don't want to pay for this anymore. We want a tax write-off, and canceled it. And if it wasn't for Amazon willing to buy it, this show would have never existed, which is crazy to me.
Is absolutely fucking wild to me. Like, because not only is there the history with Batman the animated series, but then there's also just simply the fact that, like once again, it's so well executed, and the team that has gotten together for it.
And also, as like a company standpoint, I mean, maybe because they got a good deal off Amazon, but why would you want, like, wouldn't you want something like this on your platform? It's like having Batman on Disney Plus. It's like, why would you want to sell your brand over there?
It's weird, man, because it's like and maybe it's too niche, maybe it's not, maybe you're like too close to the sun, like I don't know, but everything else DC is on Max. I literally just watched all the Crisis on Infinite Earth movies.
Nice. I didn't watch part 3. I mean, they're kind of rough. I don't really like them. Did you like them?
So I watched. This is where I get fancy. I watched part 1 on the flight to Italy. is where I
Hey.
watched part 1. I watched part 2 and 3 when I got back. I liked part 1. I thought part 2 was boring, and then I enjoyed part 3.
I mean, I'll watch part 3. I always find them too boring. I literally fall asleep every time I've tried to watch part 1 and part 2. Every time I've just fallen asleep, and they're not even long movies.
No, they're not. But I thought part 1 was great because, like, I do like a good Flash story, and this felt like a good Flash story. Like I'll just put it like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't great. It's no Flashpoint Paradox, but it was good, and I thought it was sweet. The ending of it.
I know there's a Kevin Conroy bit in the third one, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah. There was some good stuff in the third one. I'll just put it that way as they're cruising around. You should watch it without falling asleep. Have a cup of coffee.
Get some espresso.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is like it doesn't make sense that Max would have all of this animated DC stuff and then somehow bail on Batman the Animated Series and then the Cape Crusader. Or the question becomes is like how much did Amazon pay them for it?
I mean, probably a lot.
Because I would say it's a thing where HBO could be like, oh, well, we'll say this, the biggest DC property.
And,
arguably.
and it's like, they put out shows like Kite Man instead, which is like, I do like Kite Man, but it's like, we're going to put out Kite Man and sell Batman.
What? But the thing with that is, like, if you think about it, though, that it does sort of make sense. If those are the only things that they sell off, but they keep the rest of it because it's maybe kind of finite and maybe very specific, they could have made some good bread off of it. I don't know. I have no idea.
Well, regardless, I'm glad we got it, because I remember when it was canceled and just being fucking bummed, because the way Bruce Timm talks about it is amazing. It's like, yeah, it's going to be Batman the Animated Series, except I'm actually making it for adults this time and not children.
And you can feel that in
Yeah.
it, right? And I know you want to go episode by episode. I watched them all. Recollection between 3 and 6 is rough.
Well, then as I talk, we can go through each one. Maybe the plot will start,
Well,
Bring it.
I'll tell you what. Okay. Like everything is always an origin story. I did not mind like the gender flip on Penguin. I thought it was a
Episode
little
1.
weird.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was
episode
weird
1.
at first when I saw like a not a preview, but like an image or whatever, and I was like, all right, I wonder how they're gonna do it. But Penguin's fucked up, so I was into it.
And as long as Penguin is fucked up,
Yeah,
that's all that really
like the second
matters.
she like murdered her son and like threw him into like a chest and then threw him into the ocean while he's screaming, it's like I was like, damn, this is now I get what this show is going for now.
And you're like I was on board. All
Yeah.
right. Like I was very, very on board. And I always take that stuff with like a grain of salt because it depends on the character. And we've talked about this like 1,000 times. But something is drawn a certain way. You've seen a depiction the same way 1,000 different times. And then it's like with the best depiction of Penguin outside of the comics that we ever had was Burgess Meredith from the 60s. And for like, what is it, almost 30 years, that was the depiction that we got.
Yeah.
At least 25
People still think
28
about that.
years.
I mean, how much I love Danny DeVito. When you think Penguin in your head, it's still the wah, 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 and the cigar. Yeah.
It's very much the Burgess Meredith. Now, but the thing there is the next time you saw Penguin in any sort of like big media, again, outside of comics, was Danny DeVito, and Tim Burton reimagined Penguin
Yeah. This is a grotesque man.
with weird flipper fingers and all of that shit. Like that's great. So there's a reimagining that enhances the character. And I guess as long as it pays service to the character and it enhances it in some way, who cares? If the character's male, female, black, white, it doesn't matter as long as that core personality exists.
Yeah,
right?
I mean that's how I feel too. Even about like the Penguin TV show that's going on. I mean it's totally different than this show. You know, he's like a Tony Soprano kind of Penguin, but it still fits who the Penguin is.
And so I still haven't watched that. I hate to
Well, the
say.
last episode comes out this week, so then all the episodes will be out. So it's better, I guess. I might as well wait, a week.
I'll binge it. It'll be fine.
It gets pretty dark. It's pretty awesome. But what I love about this Penguin is she's also pretty fucked up and dark, and I like that the episode starts with she is just immediately battling Rupert Thorne, and she's up there in the the underbelly of the mob scene, and it is not only bribing cops but is also hosting cops on her yacht to distract them.
Right. So the levels of corruption are deep. They show up early. Another thing that I like about this series is that it doesn't start with an origin story for either Batman or the villains. Yeah. Right? It introduces us to a couple
Which
of
is what the
stories.
animated series did. Same way.
Right. It jumps in with established characters and established ways of being because people that are watching this aren't ignorant. You know what I mean? They get where it's coming
We know.
from.
Batman's parents died. He wanted vengeance.
Yeah. And now he's constantly dealing with that. And the best thing when you start a cartoon like this is if you go with an established character, then it gives you plot lines later on. And it gives you ways to open up a character and sort of expose them to the world a little bit, right? It allows for self-discovery where if you keep opening with origin story after origin story after origin story.
It's how many times are these pearls going to hit the ground when his mom gets shot?
And why does that always have to be your first thing, your opening sequence? Fuck it. No, you don't need it. You don't need it. You touch back on it later on.
But and also the thing I really liked about this, I don't really see very often, really at all in Batman lore in general, is that the cops also aren't that stupid in this show. In this pilot, Jim Gordon is the one who saves everyone at the police station. Batman has nothing to do with any of that, and he's the one who's everyone's got to get out of here. We're gonna get they figure out their own shit first, while Batman's also still trying to figure stuff out.
And there's a thing with I guess sort of cops in media and cops in whatever in general. The doofus cop is a thing to play into, but I do have a respect for a Gotham that has good cops v bad cops.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And people who are good at their jobs. I feel like good cop, bad cop only really works when both of them are on their game, because then it becomes a matter of who's gonna out top whom.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Right? Because if everybody's a doofus, then it makes no sense.
Yeah.
But if everybody's sort of on their game and these couple of guys are on the take, then it's how sneaky can they be to stay on the take? And then can the good guys sort of see what's happening? If they see what's happening, how can they prove it? Because later on in the series, we get to a point to where, and I think it's Barbara is talking about concrete evidence to put somebody away.
That's a thing this show gets too. Barbara, even in the pilot episode, she's very much I'm going to defend these criminals because the system is also fucked up, and none of this is that cookie cutter. Even though these persons definitively did something bad, the things that you're trying to do to them are also just as bad. And where's that line?
I love that Cape Crusader asked those questions.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I absolutely fucking loved that about this. Because it all right, I saw Biohazard. I saw Biohazard in like 99. They were getting ready to introduce a song. And he says, what is it old boy says? He says, let me tell you something about this world you live in. There is no black. There is no white. There's only shades of gray. And then they rip into the song. But that sticks with you because it's true. And in this, it becomes a point of like, why are they doing what they're doing? And then how much can you actually prove it? And if their need outweighs the morality behind it, then, and what you're trying to do for them, you put them away for 6 years or 20 years for, taking a loaf of bread or whatever. Like the need versus the transgression. And it's a fine sort of balance between that. I love that.
Yeah.
I love it.
And for Bruce Timm, I feel like you couldn't tell that kind of story in a kid's show. So to like be able to bring that now into like an adult Batman, I think is great. Episode 2, ? And be a villain. That's the Clayface episode with him, and which is also really good. Also reimagining of Clayface. Like he's not just this big monster. I mean, he's always been an actor, which is what they focus on. But
Right.
in the animated series, he becomes this like big kind of grotesque, kind of almost like a body horror kind of thing. And this is to me more like classic Universal. He feels like Phantom of the Opera more than like a Cronenberg kind of body horror thing that they initially did.
I'm going to tell you, very disappointed with this. He didn't talk to his butt one single time. No parts of him, went off on their own.
Oh, and then, he
adventures.
didn't have a relationship with his butt.
That was upsetting. Episode 3. No. Yeah. So, like, and I like. So the idea of an actor that can do anything and everything. I need a refresh on 2. Give me a refresh.
Well,
on
so he
Clayface.
is, he's an actor. He's considered one of the best actors in the world, but he's ugly as fuck. And
Right.
nobody wants to cast him as like the leading man, even though he's also in love with the lead actress because he's just ugly as fuck and nobody wants to hire him. So he does what every other actor does today. I'm going to go do some surgery or do some experimental whatever the fuck to my face, and hopefully that'll work. And like every actor, it doesn't.
It never does. It never.
You look like
turns out the
fucking
way
Courtney
that you want
Cox
it to.
or what's her name? Gina Gershon, right?
Ooh, Gina Gershon. Yes. Bound. Bound and then fucking Showgirls.
Yeah, I mean, you
Older
saw her in
Gina
Thanksgiving. It's like, yeah, what's up? I'm Gina Gershon.
Gershon. Everything is very pulled back. And it's also weird that we can't allow people to age gracefully, but that's a whole other story.
But that's what I got from this episode, at least, was like them kind of doing that kind of issue in a way of like, oh, these vain actors, or the way the media is forcing this guy into thinking he's just this hideous old man.
Right.
Even though they're like, you're the greatest actor ever, but you're ugly, so we can't put you on screen.
We can't put you in anything. And I'll say this later on. Today I rewatched the back half, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But I will say, when they do introduce people and when they do set up like an overall arc, the way they play the humanity into a lot of these people is tremendous.
Yeah.
Is absolutely tremendous. And we'll get to Harvey Dent, but
Oh, yeah.
that is an arc that I really appreciate in this whole thing.
I mean, he's been in these couple episodes. It's the voice actor is. I'm gonna pull it up here because it's Batman. Diedrich Bader. He does Batman and Harley Quinn. He's Batman on Batman Brave and the Bold. He's the what a lovely Tea Party guy from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Even better, he's the watch out for your cornhole bud guy from Office Space.
Yeah.
He was Oswald in the Drew Carey show.
Right.
Diedrich Bader, he was in
around.
the Beverly Hillbillies. Like, he's hysterical. He's one of the funniest men alive.
So then him to take on this role as Harvey Dent, where he's like not funny. Not that he's bad, but he's just not funny. Like, he's like playing a totally different kind of person. He's playing this kind of more snobby, upper class district attorney kind of guy.
He's very, very, very straight throughout this, and it's great. It is great. He's a hell of a talent as far as like voice acting, but comedian. There's nothing funnier than "Watch out for your cornhole, bud." The greatest line in cinema, period. But no, so like from there. The actor's story and the statement.
Yeah, and he starts like murdering people on set, and then the detective thinks that she's found the guy, but it turns out that Clayface has been murdering all the people, and the guy that she thought who it was actually just Clayface disguised as like the doctor, and the actor she thought was dead is actually still alive, and he's Clayface.
See, it like...
And you get a sword fight, which also I really love. Like, Batman crashes into one of the sets, and they just start having, like, an old school, like, just, fencing sword fight. Like a Princess Bride type sword fight.
They go full-blown into, like pirates and whatever, as far as that goes. But that's also classical acting, as well. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's why I said it's always felt like this episode a lot feels like to be Phantom of the Opera, where it's very much like here's a show, and then there's this thing around the show that's killing all the people off for whatever reason. For
very terra firmer.
Terra firmer.
It's very
right, because terra firmer was definitely made before Phantom of the Opera.
And it's very, very meta. It's very. All right. Anyway, so episode 3, Kiss of the Catwoman.
Yeah, so actually episode 3 is my least favorite, to be honest. I like the way the Catwoman looks. I like this kind of really classic, 1930s kind of Catwoman in the dress and her hair and stuff. But I don't know. I don't really care for Catwoman being this spoiled rich girl. Like, I don't know. I feel like that kind of takes away what makes Catwoman kind of cool. I don't know.
So, right. The idea of her being just this absolute, like sort of minx of a thief, the idea of the cat burglar sneaks in at night, prowls around, finds her stuff, is able to lift things from you, steal from you, and still sit in the corner and like lick her wrist and wait for some milk. Like there's the idea of making that character type of spoiled rich girl.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense of why she's really stealing anything.
It ruins it for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Other than, do you think cats are spoiled? No, I think they're conniving. I think they're
they are conniving. I mean, they could be spoiled, but they are conniving.
They're calculated creatures, is the thing. That's the idea. And I get it.
She was definitely not calculating anything in this, Like, she goes to jail, and, like, the really annoys me about this episode is actually the end of it, because she goes to jail, and then her, like, I don't want to say servant, whatever, like, caretaker that she has that stays with her, is like, oh, by the way, you owe me all this money, so I'm just going to sell this stuff and take it. So sorry, now you're stuck in jail. And I was like, what?
When that happened, when she was like, I've sold everything. It's all gone. It maybe gives you a motivation for a Catwoman in season 2 You know what I mean? It maybe gives you a motivation for her there. She had it all and now she has nothing.
Nothing,
But
yeah.
then, whatever.
See, I'd rather watch that than just this spoiled person who's just flying around, just stealing shit for no reason.
And again, as much as it opens us up with established sort of things, it is a couple of these weird sort of half-assy origin stories
Yeah.
that sort of lose me a little bit in this. That's the only thing, right? Is because now once you get into the season, as they start introducing these other characters, instead of having, I guess, necessarily this truly well-established rogues gallery, they feel the need to establish a little bit much. I think if more of them were truly well-established characters, you could go back to it, and then you do what you do in the back half of the season, which is have one great arc where you really expose one big origin story for someone, which is what they did with Ben.
Yeah, and what they also did in the animated series, like with Mr. Freeze, also with Harvey Dent too. But I think it's this episode. I'm pretty sure it's this one. There's like a small Batman moment that really took me, like, that made me think, man, because so when he gets into a car, he's Bruce Wayne. I think he's at some gala or something. He gets into the car and he's like, when you see him as Bruce Wayne, he's talking like Bruce Wayne would talk. Then he gets into the car, who's still as Bruce Wayne talking to Alfred, and suddenly his voice then changes to now he's Batman. And it brings me to this idea of when Kevin Conroy, when he was deciding how he should voice Batman, he said actually the Batman voice that he was doing is closer to his real voice. And then when he does Bruce Wayne, he's actually higher pitching his normal voice. And he said it's because with Batman, he feels that the way Bruce Wayne is, that Batman is more his normal voice. Like Bruce Wayne is more Batman than he is. Like him as Bruce Wayne is pretending to be a person more so than when he is Batman. He's not as pretending.
He's more genuine to himself in that cape and cowl. And that's a weird thing when you get to performers in general who perform in mask, right? There's a lot of people who have weird sort of stage fright, who have weird sort of like social hang-ups and anxieties and issues being themselves. But then you put them on stage and you give them a mask, and then all of a sudden everything that you knew was there comes out. So I watched the
that's what they say about wrestlers too, all the time.
100%. Anybody who embodies a character, right? But I was watching a documentary on DeAntwoord after I got home from Popham, and their DJ High Tech, is just this sort of mild-mannered dude. He's very quiet. He keeps to himself until he puts the mask on. He always had this big fear of performing, but then they gave him a mask and they gave him the opportunity to kind of conceal himself, and the guy goes absolute batshit, and it's that same sort of vibe with Batman and Bruce Wayne. There's another moment later on where he's talking to Harvey after the accident and everything, and he says something about what is it? It's a line like you picked a fine time to be honest, or something like that, or like, when did you adopt honesty as a policy?
Yeah.
Then, and it comes out straight up Batman. To a point to where Harvey turns around, looks at him, sort of side-eyes him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just saying, Harvey, ha ha ha," back in his Bruce Wayne. But it's very, very telling.
And it's like those little things I think that really make this show strong. Is that because even the moment I talked about too, they don't point anything at you. It's not like suddenly Harvey too is just like, oh, he's Batman, or they bring that back, or he thinks it's like they just give you these moments to like really flesh out these characters in a way that gives a lot of subtext, is what I'm starting to say, in a way that's not totally telling.
There's another interesting thing that happens, particularly again, like in the back half. A lot of times, both Bruce Wayne and Batman call Alfred Pennyworth.
Yeah.
They just keep referring to him by his last name.
He gets mad at him at one point. He's like, "Do it, Pennyworth."
And you're like, what the fuck? What?
Yeah.
If what? When was that ever a thing, right? But then, he has that sort of turnabout after Alfred saves his life by taking in that spirit. And that's like, I think that's like episode 8.
All right, we're still on
like
episode 3.
4.
Yeah, so
well, 3 or 4. Kiss of the Catwoman into Night of the Hunters. Again, you lose me I watched the first half like last week. And then I watched the back half today. So I might be a little more.
It's not like I said, we were going to watch this, for months. Yeah.
Just be grateful I didn't watch it in August. You know what I'm saying? Because be grateful that didn't happen. I would be like, there was a new Batman show, and you would be like, Ben, you told me you watched it, and I'd be like, I did.
So episode 4, Night of the Hunters. Actually, I think is a really good episode too. That's the one where the cops are now being like, all right, we have to take Batman seriously. Like, it is now a thing we have to deal with, and they make their Batman task force. And Bullock and Flash, they're all pissed because they're like, we're men, we can do this. Now we got to listen to this woman telling us what to do. And Renee Montoya, she's fucking probably the best detective they got.
That's the first one where they see him as a real threat,
Yeah.
right?
And that's they make the task force, and then they set up all these, like, Renee's plan is to set up all the fake like robberies and stuff to get Batman to reveal himself. This is episode 4.
What's his name though? Firefly, right?
Yeah, even though they call him Firebug, which I also don't really. I guess that's just them fucking around. I guess just messing with the lore, because they do call him Firefly in the show too, and he's like, no, I'm Firebug or whatever. But I love. So then they do all these fake robberies. It's not working because Batman's way too smart for them. He keeps like messing with the cops. Like there's the one cops that he like just ties up, like they're trying to rob another cop, and then he just ties them all up to a pole and leaves them there.
I also gotta say I'm looking right now, and then there's just so much additional wonderful cast that's popping up throughout all of this, like John DiMaggio.
Yeah, I think he voices Bullock.
He does.
Yeah,
he is. He's Bullock all day. Tom Kenny is Eel O'Brien. Like,
oh damn! I wouldn't be surprised if Phil Lamar isn't somewhere in this.
I'm double checking. I'm sure.
Because he's in a lot of these things. But then Flask and Bullock, they come up with this crazy plan of being like, we're just gonna take one of the Arkham dudes, who's like not too threatening, but threatening enough to fuck some shit up, and like, then Batman will come out, and then we'll kill. Then we'll give two birds with one stone kind of deal with this. And what I love about this Firebug guy is he's a little creepy little dude. And then like when he puts on the goggles and he has like his fire vision of just like the city on fire, the children running around playing on fire.
Exceptional. Like, this isn't for kids. And I think this is a good time to kind of maybe talk a little bit about sort of the art style for this, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like Batman the Animated Series on acid.
Yeah.
Like,
they even get the grain down too, like, because in the original animated show, the backgrounds always had like a texture to it, is because they drew it on the black construction papers. It always had this kind of like rugged kind of texture to it. And I like that they bring that back for the show a lot, because the other Bruce Timm stuff, when you look at the stuff post-animated series, like Superman, Justice League, The New Adventures of Batman, even Batman Beyond still has some of that in there, but like they get really clean with the art, and that's because it was cheaper, and they started doing it more digitally to like just make it cheaper and cleaner. And I like that this show brought it back to this like Yeah, like almost just like chalk on fucking, black construction paper kind of feel.
Exactly. And like it does feel like what is it? Like drawn on black. It feels darker,
Yeah.
it feels deeper. Like I love the animation style in this. I love the way Gotham looks. I love the modern mix with the old-timey situation. Like you were talking with Catwoman. That traditional
Yeah.
sort of like 30s kind of feel to her.
I mean, I love
Like
that there's no computers in the show. Like they took all the tech away from Batman, which is sick. I mean, yeah, he has like some tech, but like so actually, I didn't even really realize this until like after watching this the first time. Was that his like back computer that he does have, like that big map of the city, is from the fucking 60s Batman show. That like clear see-through map that he's got, which I think is awesome.
Absolutely. And I think that plays much more into sort of the gadget aspect of what he's got.
Or even the Two-Face episode, not Two-Face, the Clayface episode, where he's like finds the DNA and he's like putting it into like he has to like put into a thing into a microscope to like really look at it and like figure it out. Like he can't just like normal Batman now. It's like he'd put on a little slab and slide it into a computer and the thing would be like boop 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 boop. Here's the like DNA whatever.
It gives so much more to the notion of him being an actual detective.
Yeah.
Right? It gives so much more.
And
to
sometimes
the
he's
notion.
bad at it, which is also what I like about this show. Like him trying to figure out stuff. Sometimes he's figuring out the wrong thing or totally not getting it at all.
And that's the idea of being a detective. Like you have to go down wrong roads. You have to go down wrong roads. Batman can't be perfect because he doesn't have superior intellect. He might be smarter than your average bear, sure.
Yeah.
But it's not like a super intellect.
He doesn't have a super brain, yeah.
He doesn't have superpowers. He's literally a dude that's looking out to right wrongs.
And this show, he's literally a dude in a leotard. Like, not even like, he's got no fancy, like, muscle suit or whatever. He's literally a dude in a leotard running
That's
around.
That's all you need sometimes, bro. That's all you need sometimes.
This is my favorite kind of Batman, though, when they really ground it. Because I like goofy Batman at times. But this is the kind of Batman that I dig. That's why I like the animated series so much. I love this, where it's just Batman just like doing Batman shit in the streets, like solving crimes, like beating up like corrupt cops and mafia.
If he's Batman in the streets, then who is he in the sheets?
Oh, he's just boring Bruce Wayne in the sheets.
That seems boring. Like that seems... Or maybe it's not.
You think this Batman eats pussy?
This Batman does all day. Like 100%.
I saw this funny list. It broke down all the Batmans from every movie, and it was like Michael Keaton axes for it but doesn't do it. Val Kilmer does it all day. George Clooney won't do it. I forgot what Christian Bale was. I can't remember all of it, but it went through like every Batman. Let's see if I could find.
But it broke down which Batman wouldn't.
Yeah, my favorite is Val Kilmer. It just said all day.
Yeah, I believe that. I love that Michael Keaton's would ask for it but wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
That's the funniest fucking thing to me.
Oh man, don't Google Batman eat pussy. That's not you don't want to do that. That's what I just did. I did not get any good results. It's just
So
I gotta get away from this website.
that's hysterical. But like anyway.
Anyway, yeah. So episode 4, they get the firebug.
We digress.
Yeah.
Yes.
We get the firebug, and he starts burning the building down. And of course, Batman's got to come in, save a bunch of kids. There's I was watching it today, and there's like a moment that I didn't really think about, so I watched it today. So he's in the fiery building. Jim Gordon's running up the fiery building. He's about to shoot Batman. Batman turns around. He's got 2 kids. Sick, awesome moment. Jim Gordon's like, oh fuck, he's being a good guy here. Then Batman goes, there's one more kid in the room. And in my brain, I was like, was Batman just going to leave that kid there? Like, if Jim Gordon didn't show up?
I mean, look, dude, sometimes you get the ones you can get. Sometimes you leave the ones you can't.
Like how do you decide? He's like, yeah, you know what? You're the oldest. You can figure it out.
But I also think there's a weird notion of humanity to that too. Because you're right, when Jim Gordon, and to go back to when Jim Gordon is saving everybody and Batman's doing his thing, like there has to come a point to where like ownership has to go to everybody to sort of save themselves.
Yeah.
And either you're on Batman's side and you're trying to figure it out for yourself, or you're dead in the streets and dead in the sheets.
And to go back to the cops not being fucking dumb people, like I love that Jim Gordon is the one who gets them out of the building. He was like, I know how to get out of here. This was my beat, or whatever he said. Right. And he sends them down the laundry chute. It wasn't Batman that figured that out.
No, and there's a level of humanity to that too. And for Jim Gordon to be like, there's another one you have to go and get. It's like, God damn it, why did you have to be here to see that?
Yeah.
I could have gotten one and still been a hero.
Yeah. You only need one to be a hero.
And just need one. That's it. So, yeah. I like a more human Batman as well. I like the idea of him not being, whatever, too perfect in everything that he does.
Yeah, and that's what I think this show really does a good job at. I mean, he'll take bumps and just get his ass beat, and then still, I think it's a lot too in the Harvey Dent episode where he's just getting thrown around a lot and loses people, and he has to find ways to track him down again after he gets thrown off a car or whatever. But so that was episode 4. This is actually my favorite episode.
James, I'm actually gonna stop this right quick. Because I need a favor from you. I think it's about time, since we are 82 minutes into this, that you do one of those infamous Big Dan live commercials that you do, so I can go and take a quick piss.
Well, I don't have that queued up, but you can always buy Big Dan's. Go hit up Big Dan's on his Instagram, Big Dan's Original, Bethpage Barbecue. We got a QR code right here on our on our YouTube page. Anyone here, you want to go scan it, you can go scan the QR code right here. Big Dan is a great sponsor. He's got some amazing sauce. He's got new sauces coming out. He's got a sweet meat sauce that I know it's on its way. He's got an original Big Dan's. He's got the Tennessee Cajun dry rub, which is great because you can get dry rub, you can get the wet sauce. I mean, he's got it all. You just got to go through his Instagram, hit him up. This is a dude making this stuff in his barn. This ain't there's no corporate, there's no mill this stuff is being made in. There's no, secret things that these companies are putting into your sauces, all right? Big Dan's not sneaking in microchips, all right? This is real sauce made by a real human you got to buy it. You got to try it. It's all amazing. Tastes amazing. You can get it sweet and get spicy, get it all. And he's got movie-themed ones. Like I said, he got Sweet Meats coming out. They still got a Were-Deer one coming out. I know our other podcast host, Liz, she has a flavor. Their Fright Cap flavor. I don't remember the name of it, but it is out there. So go try it. Hit up Big Dan. Go try it. I know. And go back and watch our 100th episode where he smoked a full meatloaf for us live. You get the full ingredients. And you can also go back and eat with your eyes, Big Dan. We got even more full ingredients. Ed Big Dan making all these cartoon foods on our YouTube with full ingredients of everything. Get it all. Just hit up Big Dan, scan that QR code, get it all.
And that's exactly the kind of quality promotion that we provide here Totally Toonular. So if you two are looking to sponsor us, this is a perfect
Yes.
time and opportunity to do so.
Look at that. I did not just pull that out of my ass. I've been rehearsing that,
For months.
For months.
For months, literally since July, right? Like,
get yourself
he
some big
doesn't-
dance.
He
'cause-
doesn't know that we're now adding spots into the middle of our show, like a very big real podcast.
Like real podcasts
You know what I mean?
do. Yeah. It's a big damn deal.
It's a big dandy. So episode 5.
So this is actually my favorite episode. This is the Harley Quinn episode. The title is "The Stress of Her Regard." Yeah. So when I first saw the first image of Harley Quinn, same thing with Penguin, didn't know how I felt about it. I was like, Joker and Harley Quinn is also a thing where like I'm kind of over it in a way. I mean, I still love the Harley Quinn show, but it was like I don't need any more of that. I feel like we got a lot of it. Do we really need more versions of Harley Quinn? But then, man, this episode just fucking is so good, man. I love that Harley Quinn is like, she's like a psychiatrist for these rich people, and then is like kidnapping them, and then forcing them to like play as children inside what she calls her playpen, and like gets them to beat the shit out of each other. Like, it's amazing.
I also love the idea that we get a Harley Quinn without the Joker.
Yeah, it doesn't even need the Joker, because even like every other iteration of Harley Quinn, like even the Harley Quinn show where she's by herself and is kind of doing her own thing, it's still this Harley Quinn that's like connected to who the Joker is.
It's spawned from the Joker. To put it in the parlance of the day, she has no agency.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She has no agency in and of herself. And to see her formed, to see her have a relationship
Yeah.
before
With the cop.
Joker, with a cop, right? Before we even see the Joker at all is tremendous.
Yeah.
And I dig that spin on character. Do you know what I mean? And it's not your traditional red and black leotard.
No.
They give it
I think it's black and yellow.
It's a weird
Yeah,
muted
it's black and
like,
yellow. Yeah, muted.
mustardy
Yeah.
yellow. And it's like I dig that. And it so if they're able, because I mean we'll get there, but there is the introduction of the Clown Prince near the end. To see if they keep these two separate or if they really do sort of try to intermingle the two is going to be very interesting.
It is going to be interesting. I just like, and maybe because I saw Joker 2 not too long ago, so I just like, I just don't, I'm so glad the Joker's not in this, because I don't want to see any more Joker for a while. I guess it'll be a while since the second season comes out, but I don't know. Batman doesn't need the Joker. We've got enough Joker.
So I haven't seen Joker 2 yet.
It is a movie. That's for sure.
It is a movie, he says.
It's a lot. If you ever wondered what it was like to watch a movie about a guy crying in the rain and continuously smoking cigarettes and then singing on occasion, that's Joker 2.
So it's a perfect film. So it's a perfect film.
Well, I guess film is subjective.
But dude, I'm just gonna say the whole thing is like when you take something like that you introduced, because Bruce Timm introduced Harley Quinn.
That's right. Him and Paul Dini created Harley Quinn.
So this is his baby. He can do with her what he wants.
And
I mean, that sounds...
It sounds a little naughty. And I still think the Harley Quinn show is, like, still my favorite. But, like, I fucking love this version of Harley Quinn. Like I said, this episode is, like, the fact that she's the person who is taking out all the rich people and then, like, torturing them in a way that then you also kind of feel bad for them is, like, pretty awesome.
And, like, I think... How do you put it? That's the mark of true villainy, right?
Yeah.
Is even when what you you should relish in the destruction of the powerful. I know that sounds terrible. You should relish in the destruction of the powerful, but at the same time, to see a situation wherein those people that you could absolutely despise are ones that you can empathize with.
Like when she
and
turns
you
that
can-
one dude into like a child in a diaper and he's like yelling about his peas and stuff. I was like, this dude is probably, he's like some rich fuck, you know, like he was running some huge business in Gotham somewhere and millions of dollars, and now he's just a baby. And then then she gives him a hammer and it was like, you got to go beat up this other guy if you want your pudding.
If you want your pudding. So that's the other thing that I thought was really classy in this is the way they worked in like her lingo.
Yeah.
Right? The way they worked in things like pudding into it.
Yeah.
Right? They give you the line without the context that you're used to.
Yeah.
They give you the
And it's not like, hey guys, remember this?
It's not. That's the other. They don't slap you with it. They don't elbow you in the ribs and wink at you. You know what I mean? It's a thing that you catch and you're like, that's slick. It comes off as being slick and it feels good. Like I don't know. I dug this one too.
It's slick and it feels good. That's what my girlfriend told me the first time we had sex.
Oh, zing! Slick and it feels good. That's how she convinced you.
Yeah.
Right? That's how she convinced you it was a good idea. And you're like, well, if you say so.
Yeah. Well, if it's slick, I guess, yeah. You know, if it's a good idea.
Okay. Whatever. But you get that. Is it this one or is it the next one? No, it's this one where she goes over the cliff at the end.
The big finale, which again, Batman doesn't do anything, literally loses, gets his ass beat. He beats up all the rich guys, but then he like trips and then falls into the cage that she locks him into. And then Barbara's trying to get him out. And then she only comes back because of Barbara, because they're best friends, which is also a thing that's didn't exist before the show. And then she goes to like help Barbara, and then Batman falls. Like literally, because Barbara's hitting the glass or whatever, Harley's like, well, now you fucked up the door. It's not going to open. And then his whole section just falls into the ocean. And then they both fall. And finally Batman comes in, saves Barbara. And then you see... Well, I mean, I guess Barbara saves... No, Batman... They both fall, right? Yeah, Barbara catches Harley, and she's holding Harley. Then they both fall. Batman comes in, saves Barbara, and Harley just falls right into the ocean.
Right into the ocean.
Yeah.
Right into the thing. And then what is it? Her, she's standing there, and I think it's Batman trying to console the cop for a minute, and she's like, not now. She's immediately like, just leave it. You know what I mean? Leave it alone. You have no idea what I've just lost, right?
Yeah.
That's Barbara he's talking to.
Yeah, they're trying to ask all the questions of what went down.
Yeah, you don't know what she's gone through, where she's just been, and she just tells him to fucking leave it and drop it. And I thought that was, again, really good and fun character stuff that's happening inside of this show. And it's like, how could Max want to throw this away?
Like you see this episode and you're like, yeah, this is a tax write-off. Like, what? We were almost robbed of this fucking awesome version of Harley Quinn because of some executives that just wanted a tax write-off.
And that you wouldn't get anywhere else.
No, nowhere else. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. So I don't know, man. It's I've been thoroughly impressed, like throughout this show, but when she is falling, there are certain moments that are very kind of cookie cutter. And this was one of them because it is a setup for a season 2.
Yeah, they don't want to get rid of her yet.
Yeah, no, she's coming back and coming back big. You know what I mean? And I think that's everybody that has gone away. They're really setting up for like a massive sort of comeback. You know,
that's what I would
mean?
hope, and it doesn't have to do with the Joker, to be honest. Like that's what I would want, but we'll see.
If Joker comes, I would want it to be. Here's how I think it could be fun. They touch him at the end of episode 10, right? They touch him at the end of the first season. If they touch him again at the end of the 5th episode of season 2 and at the end of the 10th episode of season 2, and then he comes in as the big bad for season 3, perfect timing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You spread it out like
spread it out. Yeah, I mean that'd be a lot better because if they just jump the gun and just do it in an episode, would be kind of annoying. You know, if her comeback episode is immediately with the Joker, I feel like that would kind of ruin what they set up a bit.
It kills it.
Yeah.
It kills it. But if you touch Joker again and you set him up to be the big bad for season 3, then I think you got something on your hands.
Yeah.
And I think you're really telling like good story. I think you're building, because that's what they did as we lead into these last 5 episodes.
So,
these last 4 or 5 episodes.
Episode 6, Night Ride. So this episode, I didn't like it at first. It grew on me because this is when the show starts getting a little kooky. And I'm always like weird when Batman gets kooky. Even though Clayface episode was a little out there, the show still felt kind of grounded or pretty grounded.
Right.
And then this episode, he fights a ghost, and the whole episode is like ghosts aren't real. And I thought that was kind of going to be the point of it, but then it's like no, the ghost is just a racist ghost that has come back from the dead to steal money from the poor.
The ghost is just a racist ghost. But then again, too, it also leans into a little bit more of Harvey's story, right? Like that's the other big touch point here, is that Harvey Dent is getting generous campaign donations.
Right. This one he starts with Rupert Murdoch, or whatever.
Right. So, like, it touches a more serious
Rupert
point.
Thorne, not Rupert Murdoch.
But this is the one wherein Alfred gets possessed near the end of it. And then Batman has to still burn the rest of the contract.
Yeah, right? No, and then he gets like that like voodoo guy too who shows up. I don't know what the character's name is, but who just pops in. He's like the witch doctor dude, whatever.
that he hands Batman a vial, which I think is hysterical. He gives him a test tube. And Batman's like, well, what do I do with this? And he gives him that, well, when you know, you know. When you know, you know.
Damn, witch doctors always speaking in riddles.
Vague terminalities. But the funniest fucking thing to me in that whole little bit is when Batman, when the spirit is back up and out of Alfred after he's burnt the last little bit of the contract, he's basically standing over Alfred, holding it up. And it's almost like this He-Man stance. It's like this vial is the sword from Grayskull. And he holds it up, and the thing just goes right into it. Very silly, James.
Yeah, that's why this episode was so silly. So the first time I watched it, I was like, this is... Where are we now? Now I was like, where are we going in the show? This is not what... Because you have this Harley Quinn episode that's so dark and like... And she's torturing these rich guys, and now it's just like a ghost, like a racist ghost. But the one thing that, like, I guess that always like confused me a bit in the end is that he gets the vial, he sucks up the ghost into the vial, and then he gives it to the witch doctor, and the ghost is like afraid of that guy. Like, how does the ghost know knows who that guy is?
Well, so that's... And maybe they're establishing that character again for later as he comes back in more of the spiritual ones. Because I can't remember the guy's name to save my life either.
I just know he was a witch doctor, voodoo dude.
And so I think what the notion would be there would be that like they're establishing him as this sort of neutral leaning, like kind of chaos thing,
Yeah.
who only looks out for himself, but he can come in handy on occasion, but he might end up being like a minor bad in a couple of things
Yeah,
later
maybe he's
on.
saving these ghosts for some thing that he's gonna do.
And again, if you're dealing with like witchcraft and shit, like you know, you're already treading a little lightly. like you're already you got to be on your toes, because good magic, bad magic, it all sort of bleeds together. You have to be very careful. That's the thing that they say about putting hexes on people, right? Like if you fuck around, like it'll blow back on you like tenfold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
all
don't fuck with
depends
no
on
dark
your
magic
intention.
like that.
It all depends on your intent, bro. That's the biggest part of it. But yeah, goofy but fun.
Yeah, I
Goofy
said I
but
came
fun.
around. I do like it. I came around to it. I just wasn't expecting the show to go that way. But the episode 7, they kind of bring it back a bit now. This episode I also really like because it focuses a lot on the cops. And it's when there's a hit out on Gordon, which you think there's a hit out on Gordon. And, like, you know, all these like people are coming after him. I think he's getting shot, like, in public. He was getting shot at. And they're like, no, you have to. And that's when the big debate comes in with Barbara and Gordon about the criminals. If she's like, no, we have to defend these people because the system is corrupt. And Gordon's like, no, these people have done bad things. They have to feel justice. And, like, they're both not wrong and not right either.
Well, the opening sequence of this one, because this is one that again, like you, I really enjoyed. I watched this one twice, a whole 2 times. But it's when they're standing, and it's in the opening bit when they're standing on the courthouse steps, and the guy pulls out the gun, and he shoots him dead right there. You know what I mean? And that sets up that entire conversation. Is like, there's an old quote, and I forget what it's from. I know it from a Marilyn Manson record, but it says, killing is killing, whether done for duty, profit, or fun, right? Killing is still killing.
Yeah.
Whether done for duty, profit, or fun. And the second you see it on like the courthouse steps, then it becomes like, well, what the fuck are we doing? Because here we are at literally a hall of justice.
Yeah. Getting shot at. Yeah. And they said the fact that too, so we get to like, you know, like I think there's a hired gun, right? They hire a crew. Batman's like goes to the jail to track down the dude, which I also love that scene where he goes into the jail cell. And the dude is like, I already paid you off, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Like, what are you doing here? And he sees that it's Batman and starts, like, getting scared. He's like, oh, no. Like, oh, man. Like, I love that people, like, the bad guys are, like, they see Batman or, like, shit themselves. Like, it's...
The second they see him, bad guys already know.
And that's scary, too. Like, you think you're safe inside a prison, right? I mean, you're in a cell. No way Batman's just going to pop up in your cell, and then here he is.
Right fucking there with you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and that plays into, like, again, this, how do I put it? Like, not above the law, but beyond the law.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, law doesn't seem to exist for Batman, even though he plays in a realm of morality a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's also, the big Batman conversation, right? And that's why it's like, is he a vigilante? Do we let him do what he's doing? But at the same time, the cops aren't doing what they're doing, and you need because in this episode in particular, like, if Batman didn't go to that jail cell, he wouldn't have known that Barbara was actually the real target the whole time when they're going after him. And so what I like, so to go back to like their Barbara and Jim's like first discussion, when we get to the end bit where first you have the cop who is like, oh, you're the target, and the cop does his heel turn and tries to shoot Barbara, Then he gets shot, and then Barbara finds out that her client's the one that put the hit out on her. So it's like then you literally have both sides that are happening up. So neither Jim Gordon or Barbara can say that their side is either right or wrong, because both those sides have just tried to kill them.
Exactly, which again feeds into the gray area that they all have to exist in.
Yeah.
Right? Because so much bad has bled into good, and maybe there's a little bit of good and bad, but at the same time it's all bled together. So all you have are your fucking shades of gray.
And which is why Batman, I think, has to exist here, because he is that kind of moral shade of gray that's gonna do shit that's not totally right, but also won't kill you.
It's that line in the sand.
Yeah.
It's literally, he is a line in the sand. It's exceptional. It's really good. It's really good craft.
Yeah, I would say like the Harley Quinn episode and this episode 7, are like my favorite episodes.
Out of the whole thing, yeah. Out of the whole thing. And it's the end of this one, correct, where Harvey gets splashed in the face.
One more.
No, one more. One more. That's 8. Okay.
Yeah, because 8 is where it gets kooky again, and they go to the carnival with the girls sucking kid souls. Which, did you catch that all the kids were Robins?
Yes. That's so smart.
Yeah.
Like, that's so smart. But it does. I don't know, and that's Nocturne, right?
Yeah, Nocturne, episode 8. I still don't really get what her power... They never really explain it. Her brother's just like, she has a condition.
She has a condition where she has to suck your soul out of you in order to, like, maintain a level of existence.
Man, I want to meet a girl that just says, hey, I got a condition. I just got to suck your soul.
She's gonna suck your soul right out of you, James.
I can help with that condition.
You're like, you know what, the soul, it's a constant and ongoing thing. Dire need.
My soul comes out of my penis.
Anytime you need some soul, just let me know. Fucking. So yeah, like. And not the best one, not the best out of the bunch, but some fun things. You know what I mean?
I like the sideshow stuff. I always love a good bearded lady. I love that Killer Croc is part of the freaks in the sideshow.
I liked, there was a line that she says to one of the kids before she tries to suck his soul, and then it's the one that kicks her in the chest, right? The little chubby redheaded.
Yeah.
That kicks her in the chest. What is it she says? Or maybe it's the 2 boys she's talking to, but she's trying to convince him to go to the carnival, and he's like, oh, is the circus in town? And she's like, oh, it's the carnival. It's better than the circus. The air always smells like popcorn and burning leaves. And I was like, that's a hell of a note to hit.
Yeah.
Because that sums up the carnival pretty well, dude.
Yeah.
Smells like popcorn and burning leaves. And then I'm like, both of those 2 odors are desperately comforting in 2 totally different ways.
And there's a moment that's actually kind of fucked up in this episode where she has like there's a Dick Grayson kid. She sucks his soul out first, which also I love because he's drawn exactly like the Dick Grayson kid from, if you watch the Robin's Reckoning episode, he's drawn exactly the same, which I love. But so that kid's missing. His Jason, little Jace comes in and is like, hey, my friend's missing. Where is he? And she's like, oh, follow me, whatever. And then she starts sucking his soul out. And then her brother catches her and she drops him to the ground. And her brother's like, fine, you get one more, kid, whatever. And then it just cuts to like him on the ground, like shedding a tear, like this kid on the ground, just like shedding a tear, being like, no, please don't do that. And then just cuts away. And it's just like, damn, this is dark.
It's a dark, brutal show. It genuinely is.
Yeah.
Like in so many ways that, and it's not that Batman hasn't done it before, but it's been a long time since we've seen some dark.
And that's why I love it. This show is made for Prime and not made for kids. You really do get a lot of darker and better storytelling that way.
Yeah.
So then she's sucking souls out of kids here. That plot's whatever. I love that Batman as Bruce Wayne is trying to find the kids and then like accidentally bust into like the freak show side of it, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "No, I'm trying to find these 2 little girls." They're like, "What are you doing looking for little girls?"
For little girls? Yeah, what are you doing looking for little girls?
And they just start beating the shit out of them.
Such a great.
And that feels like such a
great
carny, because I mean, not that I know a lot about carnies, but what I know is that they will stick up for themselves that way. Like they will be like, "No, we're protecting our own here. You're on our turf. Like you cross that line, we're gonna beat the shit out of you."
And so, as far as Carnival is usually depicted in media, that is it. Carny lifestyle is you're either in or you're out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're literally either part of it or you are nothing. HBO Max has a show, Carnival. It's the same thing.
There's a clip out I posted on our YouTube of you and Liz talking about it.
100%. There's also not even just that show, but then Todd Browning's Freaks. All the freaks in the movie Freaks, one of us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that little moment there, Bruce getting his ass beat. That's what I thought about. But then the rest of the episodes, whatever, he finds the kids, helps them, whatever. I think the actual important thing about this episode is really Harvey Dent, who was taking money from Rupert. Rupert gives him an ultimatum of being like, "Hey, you got to let this guy off." And then he's like, and Harvey's just like, "No, he stole money from all these people." And Rupert's like, "Well, you owe me, whatever." Harvey's in the courtroom, decides, "No, I'm going to do the right thing. And I'm going to send this guy to jail or whatever." And then that's when he gets acid thrown right into his face.
In the face. And that'll take us into number 9.
Yeah.
The Killer Inside Me.
And this is the first 2-part episode we got in this show. Even though they don't call it part 1 or part 2, but it's a 2-parter.
Yeah, it really, really is. One of my favorite moments in this is he's at the dinner party after he's out of the hospital and his face is all bandaged up. And he keeps hearing the people talking, the whispering, like that are so amplified, right? And when he goes, "You want to see what it is? You want to see the freak you're talking about?" And then they've got that shot from behind as he's pulling everything off. And then you see it in the ear first, like the divot of the ear that's out. And you're like, "Oh, shit, what's this going to look like from the front?" I love that they played it more like what the Heath Ledger movie,
like Dark Knight. Yeah, they do, which I like. I like that. I mean, I do love the Harvey Dent Two-Face in the animated series, but yeah, I like that this movie, that it's just like he has just this melted face.
Face.
It's not like, even like you look at Tommy Lee Jones, right? There's like this perfect line of like, now it's like a discolored, funky looking thing, but it's like, this is like, no, he's a burn victim and he had acid thrown on his face and it's melted off.
And the more they play into that and the less of the idea of like, oh, his suit has to be two-toned.
Yeah.
Everything now is, the split, this whatever. There's the wild evil side and the whatever. It becomes more to like a troubled sort of soul. And I guess that's what you can say overall about all of the villains in this.
Yeah.
Is that it does play more into and this is going to sound stupid when I say it, but let it. But it plays into the notion of like hurt people. You know what I mean? like they're all like so deeply
Yeah.
flawed. They're
The animated
still,
series is a lot like that too. I mean, all the villains, they were flawed. They were tragically flawed people that were hurt by someone that in turn becomes this villain.
becomes a villain, and I think this show, as much as that plays into that notion in such a great way, in like such a great fucking
Now, what
way.
I do find hilarious is that suddenly too he becomes Two-Face and decides I'm going to do Two-Face things down, hunt down these bad guys, and then suddenly like is now good at fighting, and like is like gotten stronger.
Well, that happens naturally.
I wish there was some other episode before, where him and Bruce Wayne were like sparring or something that could like give a little more context, because he's like literally kicking Batman's ass and beating up all the thugs, all the mafiosos that were trying to kill him. That he was so afraid of earlier.
But now it's like, but I think that's also the I think that also leans into this notion of now he officially is like two sort of separate people, right?
Yeah. I guess, yeah. So now I guess the other separate guy is stronger and can fight better. But I do love this evil, like Harvey. There's that scene too where he's at the bar. He's at beating up that one dude at the bar. And he's about to leave, and the guy just kind of whispers, "Freak." And then it just cuts to, like, just the outside of the bar and everyone running out, and you just hear him just beating the shit out of him.
Scattering.
Yeah.
Scattering. That is a perfect moment of what you show versus what you don't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that is a perfect moment. You don't need to see the brutality of what's going on inside to know that it exists by the reaction of the people that are coming out of
and
it.
you can hear it, So you hear what's going on. You see the people running. That's all you
And there's like that's the other thing. Somehow they drew genuine like fear in that moment. Everybody knew they were going to be the next ones. Everybody knew they were going to be the next ones.
So and then finally, where do we go from here, right? Batman chased him down, right? He gets as far as the Rupert Thorne's house. And I love they humanize Rupert Thorne. They have his kid. He's like watching baseball with his kid. His kid is just hyping up his dad every time he talks. He's like, "Oh, son," like you just like, now you're kind of like feeling, I kind of don't want, like, Harvey looks like the more of the evil person than Rupert Thorne was, who has been the villain of this season.
And that, how do you put it? Like it is one of those things where I love the fact that they show those more sort of human sides to the people that you think are so terrible, but it also amplifies the villainy in Harvey at that point, that he no longer can see like that level of humanity in them, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's the selling point in the villain. Yeah.
And then he's finally got Harvey. Harvey's finally got Rupert Thorne. Right, guns a blast, and his kid comes in between them, and was like, "No, you have to go through me." And then he's like, "All right, I'll just shoot both of you." Batman comes in, does his thing. Two-Face gets arrested. I think that's how the episode wraps up, right? And then the episode after is the trial.
Yeah, exactly. Is the pardon me, sorry. I got caught in the chat for a second. Lex joining us.
Retired Carney, I see.
Retired Carney in the chat. So we're branching out to our friends here now, James. It's wonderful. Speaking their language. But like that's the thing. So we lead into trial. James.
Yeah, and then so what I love too is that Barbara has to defend him. Now you remember at the beginning of the season, they're always battling in court against each other, and he's always talking shit. And still, it goes back to her, the whole thing that we've been talking about. She's like, even though Harvey is a bad person, he's mentally just not here right now. He's not okay. Like, he is a victim just as much as he is a murderer, and he needs to be treated as such.
So, and that is one of the most interesting things that you could possibly see in this. Because yes, he is like he was the DA.
Yeah.
She was the public defender. Naturally, these two are at fucking odds constantly. They should be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the idea. His whole notion in working for the state is to put people away. And her whole notion is that, like, no, maybe that's you. Maybe that's a you thing and not a them thing. It does bring up a bigger, broader, and better conversation about how the justice system works, which I also think is sort of one of those things inherent into Batman that you don't really get into as much, and it can, or well, maybe you get into constantly, but it's the idea of, like, what is justice?
Yeah,
overall?
I mean, they do kind of get into it, even the Dark Knight or even the most recent Batman movie. But I think this show does it the most. That's why I said these cops aren't stupid. I love that we got Barber as a public defender and Jim Gordon, having his own ideas of how to run the police. And you have Renee Montoya who's actually doing detective work. Like, it's like these like real people who are trying to run the justice system in a way that they think is how it's supposed to work. But then you have this immense amount of corruption also on top of it. And then there's Batman.
And then there's Batman.
Yeah.
It's the best way to put it. It literally is the best fucking way to put it. And then there's Batman. But yeah, the fact that they put a person who has been at odds with his character the entire time.
And then she fucking locks herself up with him because, Flask and I forgot the other guy's name. Bullock. There we go. Flask and Bullock. They kidnap Harvey to go send him to the Thorne's men to go get murdered because he's gonna rat, on all the Rupert Thorne stuff. And then what does Barbara do? She fucking locks herself up with him and then tied to him so he doesn't run away. She's still trying to protect him.
The idea too that it's their notion that it's like he needs to get psychiatric help, and the way they're talking through and to him, and maybe it's in the previous one. I think it actually is in the previous episode where we get that break again between Bruce and Batman, where Batman comes out to Harvey and he's like, leave it to now, to be honest, or whatever the line is. And then regardless of that, the idea that they're looking for ways to get him off, but you're still a good man. It's not the same. Take the opportunity.
Barbara's just looking for ways to get him off.
To get him off. I mean, again, a perfect friend, right, James? You need a Barbara Gordon in your life, is what I'm hearing.
But that whole scene though, with the end of it, where they're being chased around the shipping yard, whatever it is. I love it. Batman's beating them up. They're running away. Gordon then comes in. He's trying to help them, and then still Harvey still fucks it up and pulls her away and tries to break away, and then she's still standing with him even after he fucking pulls her back into the mess when they almost were away.
When they're almost out. When they're almost done. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. This show, it does have a way of putting people, again, back in peril. And it in a weird way, it makes you question the times that you think you've done the right thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's the other part of it.
And I think Batman also has that same question because Harvey tells him, he's like, I've done more work in the 2 days than you've done at all as being Batman because I've now taken out all these people. And I think Batman has that same thought. And that's why I think we get to that scene with Flash, I think it is. He pulls a gun out on him. And Batman has a gun pointed right at him. And I think that same question's in his brain right there of if I just shoot him, then this corruption is over, right? But then he doesn't shoot him.
What is the right thing, and have I often done it? And when I've done the right thing, has it been the right thing?
Yeah.
it puts you in such a weird headspace, like a lot of the time.
Because
Do you know
again,
what I'm
too,
saying?
because Harvey gets shot right towards the end of this. He gets shot. He's literally dying. So Harvey does end up dying, right? As far as we can tell, Harvey's dead. So that
Yes.
means he still can now. He's not going to be able to put away Thorne. All that, the things that Rupert Thorne wanted just happened. You know, Batman doesn't win. The cops don't win. They got nothing now. No evidence. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No evidence, no nothing, none of that.
But then Batman then fucking shows up and they do the classic fucking animated series shot too. Rupert Thorne's chilling in his like comfy, thinking that he's safe. He got away with it. Batman chucks a batarang like perfectly, where it grazes his cheek, lands right into his like throne chair, shatters the window, and then you just see like Batman just staring at him like across the top of another building with the lightning shooting behind him, and lights him up for like a second. Oh.
It's a perfect Batman moment. That is I'm watching you. That's all that's saying is I am watching you constantly. And it's beautiful. Now, where I have like a weird sort of disconnect and my brain does this because that's the natural wrap up. You could have ended there. The Joker tag that comes in.
Yeah.
Where it's all the people tied up and everything at the end of it. What is the beat that I am missing that gets us there?
Nothing. I mean, it just cuts to it.
Straight to it.
Yeah, it's like
it's
like a post credit, but not really a post credit. Like, which is in one hand really cool scene. I love that everyone's all fucked up. I love that Joker is like literally just. Because normally you see Joker, he does his little laughing gas and everyone laughs. And he's like literally injecting these people. Like, you see that he had like the tourniquet around the dude's arm and like injecting these fucking people, like and torturing them for some weird reason. So this Joker looks pretty twisted. And also his voice isn't very Joker-y when you hear him talk for like a second or two.
When you hear it, it's not. The laugh is not jokery. Yeah. The voice is not the high pitched that you've gotten used to. It's a deeper, more guttural sort of thing. It's very less cartoony. I didn't notice the big splash of green or the big red cheek.
Yeah.
You see the smile.
Yeah, and you see like his white makeup. Yeah, but he doesn't totally pop as the Joker, so this show's been cool with the way they've been handling their villains, so like I'm into it. But like I said, I'm just fucking also so over the Joker. As long as he's just not like, I think I'm over the idea that the Joker represents like depression and like, you know, what's wrong with society, kind of like mental health stuff. Like I just don't need the Joker to be that symbol.
And always to be that symbol. I get that he's Batman's number one foe. Like I respect that. I understand.
Yeah.
But the lore is so rich, and inside this 10 episode arc, they've given us a lot without having to touch it or with waiting to touch it until the end. You know, because they could have come fresh out the gate.
If you and I read this a long time ago, but you know, you can actually read the pitch Bible for Batman the Animated Series. Bruce Timm's full pitch Bible is out there on the internet. Has all the art in it. It has like a full I don't know how to describe it, but like paragraphs of like his vision of the show. And part of it was he wanted no origin story, and he didn't want to do the Joker, or he didn't want to like the show to be about the Joker. So that's why Batman the Animated Series is only in like 2 episodes, I think.
Yes,
he's not in it very much, you know. So
he's in it very, very. He's in way more than 2.
But I meant like in the first like season.
Yeah.
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 In the first season, he's only in like the Christmas episode. I think maybe one more.
But that's the big thing is like the more you can stay away from it, and
then it makes it better. Then that's the thing that people remember, like Mark Hamill's Joker. You know that people remember
exactly. Now. Once they really bring him in, then they bring him in and he exists, but you still dance around him a lot. He doesn't have to be the core or the center of everything.
No.
Right? Like it's
Yeah,
good
and I'm
that he
sick
can
of him
be
being
out
the
there.
center. Like I said, I'm sick of him being the center of everything. I'm sick of him being a message about mental health and being an incel. Like I just don't want to I don't care about that Joker anymore. Give me the one that just wants chaos and is in love with Batman, you know?
The idea that he's always in love with him is also another wonderful thing.
Yeah.
That I love. I can only hope that that's what we're really treated to in season 2 is a Batman and Joker love affair.
All right. Well,
What if Bruce Wayne takes a male lover?
ooh.
And it happens if Bruce Wayne takes a male lover and it happens to be the Joker in season 2. That could be cool.
It'd be a good twist. I mean, I guess he wouldn't know. I mean, he would look like the Joker, though.
But it doesn't matter. He's got white makeup on. It's fine. You can't tell the difference.
I mean, you can do like what they did in Batman in '89, right? Where Joker puts on like normal face paint over his Joker makeup.
over his Joker face.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he can go and have hot sex with Bruce Wayne.
Hey, Bruce Wayne may
And-
not eat pussy, but he'll suck some dick.
It's going to be the reverse of Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy
Yeah.
in the other cartoon show. That's how how Prime is gonna give Max the finger with what they're doing with their property. You heard it here first, everybody. Gay sex on the season
should.
2 of the Caped Crusader. It'll be hot stuff.
You know,
But anyway, James. On that note,
on that note, so what are you rating the show? What are your final thoughts? How does it compare to the OG Batman animated series? What do you got to say to wrap us out of here?
I would say it is a very healthy continuation of Batman the Animated Series. While it may not carry the characters the same way, while it is a reintroduction to things, which again gets a little old, I do think, 30 years on? It's
Yeah.
a good way to redo the series. It's a really, really good way to redo the series. And I think they hit on social notes that have not left. I think that they have played a lot with character in an interesting way without necessarily ruining things. I think they have tweaked and touched on classics and have done an excellent job with it. Yeah. A success all day, James.
Success.
Yeah, man, I miss playing that. Yeah, I mean, literally the same thing you said. I mean, it's almost impossible to be better than the animated series, because this comes from that. There is none of this without Batman, so there's none of this without that. So it's like, it can never be better, but it is the perfect continuation, because if you look back, there's like the sequel series, the animated series, The New Adventures of Batman, and this is just way better. This is definitely better, because it brings the grittiness back. Like I said, the art style is feels like I'm right back into the animated series. I mean, the second I turned this on, I watched it for the first time, I was like, this is perfect. This is like what I've wanted for so long, for such a long time, and it's finally here. And then it's just like, yeah, what the fuck, Warner Brothers, that we're gonna shelve this? Like, how? Like, what is wrong with you people?
The fact that this may not have seen the light of day is an atrocity.
Because that's why all the episode, normally this kind of show would get released weekly, but the reason why it was all dumped at once on Amazon is because the show was finished. It was literally done, and then they decided to scrap it, and Amazon just bought it. So, I don't get it. They saw they watched all of this. They watched all this, great character development and this idea of just, who's wrong and who's right, the justice system. It's and they watched it and were like, nah, we need to save money on taxes.
Insanity. And the fact that, I guess the bigger atrocity and all that is that groups of people worked on it. So we'll talk about our Bruce Timms. We'll talk about our big voice actors.
I know
We'll talk
Matt
about
Reeves
that
is
stuff.
a producer on it, and I also think J.J. Abrams is a producer on this.
No, J.J. Abrams definitely is a producer on this. Yes. But we'll talk about these big name people, but that doesn't include the animators.
Yeah, all the
that
animators,
doesn't
the artists,
include
yeah. All of it.
you know, the working class heroes that worked on it.
Because whoever the animation studio, I don't even know who is really behind it, but all the animators on this, they all obviously fucking busted ass. Because not a single frame of this that I feel like was weird or off or took me out of it, or like I was just in this world immediately.
Not a fucking wasted cell, James.
Yeah.
Not a wasted cell. I was listening to a show the other day about a movie, and they made reference to the film, and they were like, "Oh, it's like every frame could be a Renaissance painting." And in this, it's like every frame could exist on its own.
Yeah.
And be a part of the comic, be a part of something else.
Which is what I felt when I watched the animated series, the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm giving it a big...
Yeah.
Success.
All day.
All day. I love this. This is what I want from Batman all day, every day. I cannot wait for season 2. I'm so glad it's getting a season 2. Rightfully so. Rightfully deserves it. Fuck yeah. Batman all day, every day. I'm gay for Batman.
That's what I was waiting for. James, on that note, what are we watching next week?
All right, next
week.
week.
We're back, right?
We're coming back. And guess what? Liz should be joining us next week. So we'll have, our crew. We'll have our crew back. And I want to change it up a bit, from Batman, go somewhere else. So I want to pick this newish Dan Harmon show, The Crapopolis.
Ooh, very good.
Because I've watched like half of it. I really like it. I haven't watched it in a while, and they have a new season, it's season 2. So I was like, why not? If I'm gonna watch it, might as well watch it for the show.
and get a couple of seasons in.
It's only 2, so not that long.
I'll text you offline, but I have been watching other cartoons since I've been home, and I've got a couple on the radar.
Let's do it.
To send your way as we gear up.
Send me a list. Look at that, Dwayne Howells for Liz coming back. It's going to be fun to have her. That way, when I have to take an old man piss in the middle of this, you won't have to do another impromptu commercial. Although I could.
Best commercial I've ever heard in my entire life.
I'll clip it out.
Yeah, no. I mean, seriously, we should put it in the middle. Start doing that. That's where we're putting our other advertising space.
All right. Well, let's get out of here before we hit almost 2.5 hours on the show.
Done. Thank you, everybody. We got a few of you in here. If you do want to send us anything, it's totally.toonular@gmail.com. Hit us up, send a note. We're out here. We are back weekly.
Yeah. All right, let's get out of here and find out who our new president is. Goodbye. See you Saturday, Dwayne. Yeah.
Later, friends.
They stole my heart. Steal a whip. I thought the wolf was retired. Do you know this man's?
They think they run this city because their daddy has a seat at the high table.
I do not like bullies!
You think you'll be rusty?
They stole my heart. Steal a whip. I thought the wolf was retired. Do you know this man's?
They think they run this city because their daddy has a seat at the high table.
I do not like bullies!
You think you'll be rusty?
They stole my heart. Steal a whip. I thought the wolf was retired. Do you know this man's?
They think they run this city because their daddy has a seat at the high table.
I do not like bullies!
You think you'll be rusty?